I'm Alex Morash, and let's queer up South Florida. Stonewall National Museum earns spot on the Advocate's top LGBTQ historical sites in America. Fort Lauderdale's Stonewall National Museum, Archives and Library is getting national recognition at a crucial moment for LGBTQ history and culture. The Advocate has named the institution one of the top must-see LGBTQ+ historic sites and artifacts in a newly published travel bucket list. The list highlights meaningful destinations, monuments, and cultural landmarks that help preserve and celebrate queer history, something advocates believe is increasingly vital. According to the Stonewall National Museum, Archives and Library President and CEO Robert Kesten, quote, "With the threat of erasure growing every day, highlighting where people can go to be immersed in our community's history and contributions is essential. This inclusion is an important spark for our team as we continue to uplift and amplify LGBTQ voices and stories. We hope many readers will visit us and enjoy the myriad of exhibits and artifacts we have on display," end quote. The honor comes on the heels of a New York Times spotlight that detailed the museum's resilience amid shifting societal attitudes and reduced federal support. Looking ahead, the museum is preparing for its annual Standing on the Shoulders of Heroes Gala, set for February 21st, 2026, with a major guest announcement expected soon. More information is available at stonewall-museum.org. I have long been a fan of the Stonewall Museum and Archives. Even before I moved to Florida, I knew of it, and just honestly, I'm glad that they're getting these accolades, both from the New York Times and in the Advocate. And, I always say one of these days, I always claim, one of these days should just write a book, as any stupid writer claims we should do one day. Sure. And I'm like, what should the topic be? Just go into the archives and just look at the different histories. There's all sorts of different book ideas you can get just going in there. Now I'm probably screwed up.
Chapters,
right?
Well, they have a fantastic library, too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And any national recognition that can encourage people to visit Florida in this specific time is really welcome and really helpful, not only to our stories, but to our tourism.
That's right. I wrote it's about
bucket
time.
List.
Yeah. I wrote it's about time. That was my first comment that I wrote for it,
Yeah, and I have to give Robert Kesten a lot of credit. I mean, they do a annual recreation, which I didn't go to the one last year, but the one before that, for the Stonewall Uprising.
Oh, yeah?
So I think it's important that we carry the torch of that history forward, because, when I was coming out in New Jersey and going into Greenwich Village and going to the Stonewall, many years after the event happened, of course, some people didn't have that experience or know the history. So I think it's really important to keep that alive.
I agree with you. There's plenty of people who still don't know, who, not that it's to say they're living in a world of privilege, but just need to dig a little deeper, and that's the perfect place to do it. I didn't know all of the history about the Women's Fund until I really took a trip to the Stonewall Library and Archives, and you really do learn how much the women showed up for us as gay men in the queer community during, what they called the plague, and when they were still figuring out what was happening with the early stages of AIDS, and I think that it's a very, very important place for everyone to get to as soon as they can.
Isn't that what they say? Isn't that when they say that they changed it from saying GLB, which was gay, lesbian, bi, and they put the L first,
because of really the way that prioritize.
the women, specifically the lesbian women, stepped forward,
right,
and became family, and
Well, there is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by sharing them and subscribing to Queer News Tonight.